Chapter 25, The Industrial Revolution, time period 1700 through 1900. Britain fueled an industrial revolution which changed society. Workers benefited eventually, but at first they suffered bad working and living conditions. Other nations followed Britain's example and industrialized. Thinkers reacted to these changes by developing new views of society. Reformers pushed for change to make society better. The beginnings of industrialization. The Industrial Revolution started in Great Britain and soon spread elsewhere. In the early 1700s, large landowners in Britain bought much of the land that had been owned by poor farmers. They introduced new ways of farming. One technique was to use seed drill. This machine planted seeds in well-spaced rows. Before this, seeds were scattered by hand over the ground. As a result, more seeds sprouted. Another technique was to rotate crops annually. Those who raised livestock used new methods to increase the size of their animals. As a result of these improvements, farm output increased. More food was available, and people enjoyed healthier diets. The population of Britain grew. The Agricultural Revolution helped to produce the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution refers to the greatly increased output of machine-made goods that began in Great Britain in the mid-1700s. For several reasons, Britain was the first country to have an economy based on industry. It had, number one, coal and water to power machines. Number two, iron ore to make machines and tools. Number three, rivers to move people and goods. And number four, good harbors for shipping goods to other lands. Britain also had a system of banks that could fund new businesses. Finally, the British government was stable, which gave the country a positive attitude. The Industrial Revolution began in the textile industry. Several new inventions helped businesses produce cloth and clothing more quickly. Business owners built huge buildings, which were known as factories, that housed large machines powered by water. The invention of the steam engine in 1705 brought in a new source of power. The steam engine used fire to heat water and produce steam, which would be used to drive the engine. Eventually, steam-driven machines were used to run factories. At the same time, improvements were being made in transportation. An American invented the first steam-driven boat. This allowed people to send goods more quickly over rivers and canals. The British also built better roads that included layers of stone and rock to prevent wagons from being stuck in the mud. Starting in the 1820s, steam fueled a new burst of industrial growth. At that time, a British engineer set up the world's first railroad line. It used a steam-driven locomotive. Soon, railroads were being built all over Britain. The railroad boom helped business owners move their goods to markets more quickly. The boom in railroad building created thousands of new jobs in several different industries. The railroad had a deep effect on the British society. For instance, people who lived in the country began to move to the cities.